I will get close to your heartache if you won't open your door. I'm feeling kinda lost when your mind is hiding whatever that is choking your chest. I can see it in your eyes that you're shaking 'cause you're holding it back. Maybe you'll make up your mind now I'm here by your side. So let it all out of me. Let it all out of me. Oh, I will hold you in the dark.
Oh my gosh. That's so good. Once upon a time, there was a duck. She lived her days as normal ducks do, cooling her toes in the nearby pond and chasing grasshoppers through thick grasses that lined the water's edge. On a warm, sunny day, she dove into the water and made believe that she was a fish, coming up for air to find the frogs watching this delusional display of delight. And when the sun caught in the tree limbs above, she paddled in circles, pretending to snatch up the little droplets of sunlight. When she had her fill of fun, she sleepily made her way to the shoreline, tucking her beak into her wing. Soon, the stars would be out to quietly rebel against the night sky, their weak light illuminating just enough to see the silhouette of frogs as they serenaded the moon. Fireflies flitted in and out of the darkness, a magic show for any eyes eluding sleep. Duck listened to the calming hum of her surroundings. A sense of merriment melted over her. Today was a good day, as they usually are. But a persistent thought was nagging in the back of her mind. Something is missing. But what? Before she tucked into a dream, she made a note to figure that out in the morning. Duck spent the first part of her day waddling up and down the shoreline, deep in thought. What was she looking for? She didn't quite know. But she knew that she needed to figure this out. The sense of missing something was embedded like a thorn, insistent and sore, and it weighed heavy on her heart. Suddenly, her eyes caught a glimpse of something half buried in the mud. It was a beautiful string of pearls. How peculiar, she thought, lifting it out of the mud and taking it to the water to rinse it clean. It shone resplendently in the morning sun. Duck was in awe. She had never seen such a thing. Surely this is what she was missing. She gently hung it around her neck, admiring the soft weight of it on her feathers. In the reflection of the pond, she found herself looking back beautifully, a gem in the mud and mire. But as night came, and the frogs and the fireflies orchestrated their dance and song, Duck sat in discomfort. She loved the string of pearls, but she still felt like something was missing. But what? She made a note to figure that out in the morning. This time, she ventured further from the pond into the tree line, where the shade was dark and cool. She looked under rocks and moss-laden tree limbs, while trying her best to find footing in an unfamiliar place. The sights and new smells were alluring, almost too much for Duck to bear. It stirred something in her heart, and she immediately longed for adventure. Truly, this is what she was missing. Unaware of the setting sun, she tasted new things and spotted new creatures wandering deeper and deeper into the woods. A hawk squealed just above and startled Duck, drawing her eyes to the treetops. Dread dawned on her as she realized the darkness of the night seeping through. She was no longer feeling adventurous. Panic took over, and she raced for a place to find shelter. Under a giant mushroom, in utter unfamiliarity, she felt humiliated for losing her sense of time. She wouldn't sleep a wink, she knew, and her heart still longed for something missing. But what? She made a note to figure that out in the morning. Duck made the long trek home, downtrodden and feeling defeated. Her feet felt heavy, and her bill hung low. What was she doing? In the early morning light, Duck heard a cheerful song carrying lightly in the breeze. It lifted her up. Her eyes met the smallest of bluebirds, singing sweetly as she sat on an egg. And there it was. It was suddenly known to Duck. She needed to lay an egg. The solution was so simple that it almost seemed laughable to Duck. She hurried the rest of the way home and busied herself with building a nest. When Duck finally wove the last piece of grass through her carefully crafted nest, she took a step back to admire her work. In between the layers of dried grasses, Duck had tied in beautiful wildflowers and tufts of soft feathers. There was a gleam in her eyes and hope in her heart. Within the coming days, Duck checked on the egg, meticulously turning and readjusting and turning some more. When will my duckling hatch? But to her surprise, one early summer morning, her egg had finally hatched. And there wasn't one duckling in the nest, but two. Duck spent the long summer days teaching her little ducklings everything she knew. She showed them how to find grasshoppers and taught them how to swim. When they were afraid, she gently encouraged them while wrapping them up in a protective wing. She was their safety, their teacher. They looked up to her and loved her very much, and she loved them very much. But the time came when they outgrew the space under her wing, growing long feathers of their own. Duck knew it was time to let them go. The reality of it loomed like a heavy cloud. But before she sent them off to their own adventures, she unclasped the string of pearls from her neck. Gently, she removed 2 of the pearls and handed one to each duck, a token to remember her by. With tears and well wishes, she sent them off, a piece of her with them, sinking lower and lower with the setting sun. Tomorrow, the sun would rise on their new lives. Duck tried to fill her days with playing make-believe as she used to, but the water didn't feel right. She would lie awake on the shoreline, listening to the frogs and fireflies, frustrated with their noise. Sleep wouldn't come easily, and she longed for something now missing. A gaping emptiness that not even the night sky could blot out, and it swallowed her up. The ducklings, however, found ponds and long grasses to chase insects in. They adventured and explored, diving and soaring, amazed and enamored with the vastness of the world. But not once did they forget about Duck. And when they nestled into ponds of their own, they each planted their pearl in the soft, fertile ground. The most beautiful flowers emerged from the earth, delicate perfumed petals, all in their own unique color, emerald and sapphire, ruby and pomegranate. Each day, there were more flowers, and fruits on vines like beads of jewels. Together, they collected as many flowers as they could carry and set off for home, purpose in their flight. When they showed Duck what they had brought, there was much celebration. They sat at the water's edge and fashioned wildflower adornment, a crown of carnations, yarrow, and orange blossom, bracelets of baby's breath, daisies tucked between feathers. They laughed and danced till they all fell down, and the sun sat low in the sky. Duck knew deep within her heart, surely as deep as the roots of the trees, this is what she was missing. And they all lived happily ever after. The end.